Today, as we finish up this first week of being out for the coronavirus, we're going to be talking in greenhouse management about greenhouse components yet again. Today's Friday Spotlight is going to be the thermostat system for our greenhouse here at Richland High School. Now if you'll look, you'll notice that there are several numbers here, 4 to be exact, and those numbers are very significant for what we do here in our operation. If we start here on the right, we're going to look and see 70 degrees. And if we look at our dial, it's set at 70 degrees as well. That is the point at which the heat will kick on here in the greenhouse. Like we've gone throughout the week, it's been cloudy most days this week, quite a bit of rain. Today's no different, but tomorrow's going to be a little different. Tomorrow's going to be rainy if I'm not mistaken, but also temperatures are expected to drop into the 50s for the high. So we can expect our heater to be kicking on sometime tomorrow and tomorrow night and over the next couple of days as temperatures outside remain relatively low. Then we start to move to the mid-range into the 75 and 80 category. And at that time, we start to see the circulating fans kick on, and also at a specific point, the exhaust fans will kick on. As we creep more towards this 85-degree mark, our cooling pad in the back will kick on. As we've talked about in previous episodes, that water will start to flush through that cooling pad, the exhaust fans will kick on, and it'll start to kick in some of that cooling air coming off of that cold water in the back. Now there is one thing that I feel like I should point out at this time, that if all of that doesn't work, okay, what if it's so hot outside that the exhaust fan's running at full speed, the evaporator pad in the back going on at the same time, and it's still getting way too hot? Then we can bring in a shade cloth, and it's exactly what it sounds like. A cloth that's going to lay across the top of the greenhouse and that's going to provide shade for the plants inside. Now we have one of those here at Richland High School. We haven't had to use one yet because of the weather, and the last few springs have been so mild with a very little sun. And that's provided no need for us to have the shade cloth on this greenhouse. So this thermostat puts everything together that we've talked about this week and runs this entire operation. If for some reason this stopped working, the rest of the components that we've talked about this week would be rendered pretty much useless because they wouldn't be kicking on and kicking off at the same time. Now this will be our last video for this week. Next week, because it was slotted to be spring break, we'll take a week off. But the week after, we'll come back with some more exciting stuff from the greenhouse, so stay tuned. Okay, so today's spotlight, we're going back to the hanging basket today. Now today is kind of a special day, and I want to show you some things about our hanging baskets because it's something that in greenhouse production is kind of one of those trick of the trades that this old cowboy had to learn the hard way, but thank goodness for some ag teachers that let me in on this little jewel. Now to make this hanging basket work for us and do what we need it to do, there are 2 things that we're going to do today. The first thing that we're going to do is for any runners that have gotten to the edge of the basket, we're going to prune these runners. And what this is going to do is it's going to help release growth hormones inside of this hanging basket, inside of these plants, and it's going to cause these bad boys to bush out. That's going to give us a very full and beautiful hanging basket later on. So yes, it may look like we're kind of doing the opposite of what we want it to do, but again, in the long run, it's what we want it to do. We're also going to go back and we're going to pinch all of these blooms off. Now, something that's pretty important that I figured out again by some ag teaching friends, but also my wife, who happens to be my cameraman, shout out to Katie. Something that I learned along the way is if you pinch all of these hanging basket blooms off, then all the growth potential goes to the plants themselves. And that's vital in the growth process. If you pick out a plant on plant sale day that's fully bloomed, you're probably not getting the best plant in the greenhouse. So look for ones that are about to bloom. Those blooms are going to be there, I guarantee it. But if you go for the blooms and the prettiness on plant sale day, chances are it's not going to stick with you for the long run. So those two little tricks, pinch off those blooms and pinch back those runners to make sure that you have the fullness of the potential in these hanging baskets. Now, what we also try to do is we try to put enough plants in the hanging basket to maximize the growth potential, but also not hurt our profit, because guess what? We're in it to make money, as harsh as that sounds. We've got fundraisers to do. So next time that you're trying to start your own hanging baskets, or maybe you're transferring stuff later on, think about pruning them some. But also, don't forget about those blooms, especially if they're starting to die. Go ahead and pinch those bad boys off. That way, all the growth potential can go to those plants, and they'll work best for you. In addition to our normal class time that we've been having through YouTube and Facebook over the past few days, I wanted to take time to point out our free meals that are being offered here in the county by way of the school system. This is a flyer that was sent to me by our Director of Schools, Vicki Beard, that shows dates and times at which these meals will be served, as well as some locations. So I wanted to share that with you to remind you of what's being offered. These are free breakfasts and lunches provided during spring break beginning on March 23rd for all children between the ages of 0 and 18. Giles County is providing this between the times of 10 and 12 p.m. on the days that are given here. If you look, we've got March 23rd, which is a Monday, Thursday, March 26th, Monday, March 30th, and also April 2nd, which is also a Thursday. Meals will be provided during this time at Elkton Elementary, Minor Hill Elementary, Pulaski Elementary, and Richland Elementary. There's a drive-through lane that we just went through to check out where you can just pull up. You don't have to get out of the car, and there are folks from the school system that will be there to be happy to provide you with a meal. So this is an equal opportunity provider. As far as I know, this does not discriminate on whether or not your child is enrolled in our school system or not. So if you're interested, in need, or just want to help out the county by alleviating some of this need, then come on by and grab some of this food to help your family out during this time of social distancing. In addition to this information, the folks at those schools that I just listed on the last part of the video will be there at those schools until 12 o'clock today.